Hey, how's it going guys? Blue Tempest here and welcome to a very special video where I'm going to be ranking all of Shuzo Oshimi's works that have been published in English from worst to best. As many of you guys who watch my content may already know, Shuzo Oshimi is by far my favorite mangaka of all time. The reason for that is because honestly, he is the mangaka that I've read the most works from, and I have loved and enjoyed most of his works. I do have a complete collection of everything that has been released in English from Shuzo Oshimi, and with the release of Sweet Poolside, now we have no confirmation of any other series by him that is going to be coming out anytime soon. So unfortunately, some of those titles will be excluded from this video as I just haven't read those because they haven't been released officially in English. But we have 11 works to talk about and rank in this video. I'm really excited to share my thoughts and my personal ranking of all of his series with you guys. This is a video idea that I've had literally since the inception of Blue Tempest and my channel. And so yeah, I just hope you guys do enjoy this video. If you do, then make sure to leave a like, and if you're new to my channel, then make sure to subscribe for more manga content. If you have been enjoying the content I've been putting out, then make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you can get notified every time that I upload a brand new video, as well as follow me on social media. All of my accounts are going to be listed down below in the description, so make sure to follow me, especially on Instagram and Twitter where I'm most active. But with all of that out of the way, let's get into this ranking, shall we? So starting at number 11, to no surprise, this is easily my least favorite work of Shuzo Oshimi that I have read. And honestly, we could actually lump in number 11 and number 10 on my list together because they're these two one-shots right here. These are like chapter length one-shots, with my number 11 being Miss Kusakabe and number 10 being Waltz. These are very short series, as you could see, so it's very hard for me to put these up against some of the more in-depth series that Shuzo Oshimi has. Honestly, Miss Kusakabe was my least favorite just because while, it's okay, it's not anything I would really recommend to anyone who isn't a diehard Oshimi fan like myself. Yeah, this one really doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't really have much of a plot to it. It's just a classic example of, Shuzo Oshimi's writing style in a short, like, 20-page format. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Miss Kusakabe. It's number 11, and then number 10, like I said, is Waltz, which this one I put above Miss Kusakabe because I do like some of the, messaging in here about, gender and stuff like that. I think that this topic was definitely explored a lot more in works such as Welcome Back Alice, which we'll get to later on in the list. But yeah, it was a nice little short story here, a little bit longer than Miss Kusakabe as well, just by a few pages, but still you could feel the length there, and that's pretty much why Waltz is above Miss Kusakabe in this ranking. But now to get into some of Shuzo Oshimi's more substantial works, starting with another one-shot, but this one's actually a volume length one-shot, and that is Avantgard Yumeko. This one, again, is one of those that I would only really recommend if you're a diehard Oshimi fan. This one's a very weird story about a girl who is obsessed with drawing. Well, you might be able to guess by the cover here, but yeah, this is a really weird short story here. It was enjoyable, but it didn't really quite blow me away or anything like that. Again, I would only really recommend this if you're a diehard Oshimi fan. So yeah, that is Avantgard Yumeko, which is in my number 9 spot on this list. So at number 8, we have the most recent work to be translated into English, and that is Sweet Poolside. This one I actually did enjoy a lot more, and pretty much from this point on in the list, these are all series that I recommend and that I enjoyed. Some of these works, such as Sweet Poolside, I would say I would recommend more so towards someone who's already familiar with Shuzo Oshimi's style. And I guess I didn't really mention this at the beginning of this video, but you know, Shuzo Oshimi is a mangaka that is known for, you know, very uncomfortable situations. He's a mangaka who's not afraid to, you know, get very personal with his works and also just explore topics that a lot of other manga series don't really explore, such as, you know, sexuality, depression, gender norms, you know, everything having to do with, you know, psychological aspects. So yeah, Oshimi has a very distinct writing style, and all of his works, I would say, I would not recommend for anybody under the age of 18. These are all very, very mature themes in all of these series. But yeah, with all that out of the way, I did really enjoy Sweet Poolside. This was a, you know, kind of weird one-shot. Again, this one is revolving around, you know, kind of a little bit of a romance, but, you know, not really. It's basically our main boy character. He is this like hairless guy. Like, I mean, he has hair on his head, but, you know, on his arms, legs, everywhere else, he has very smooth skin, and a lot of people make fun of him for it. They bully him and stuff like that, and he meets this girl who naturally has a lot of body hair. So they meet, and she asks him to shave her arms and legs, and it kind of goes from there. You could kind of expect that because it's Shuzo Oshimi, it gets very weird very quick, but still, I thought this one was, you know, pretty enjoyable nonetheless. Again, very weird concept, but, you know, still enjoyable. And the final like bonus chapter in here also kind of solidified it and gave it that bit more of a nudge to top, you know, Avantgard Yumeko and the other one-shots, because that bonus chapter seems like it was written a little bit, you know, after the actual main story here. You can definitely see a difference in the art style and everything, and I really did enjoy that bonus chapter, randomly enough. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Sweet Poolside. It is my number 8 on this ranking. So next up, we have what I consider to be the weirdest Shuzo Oshimi work, and that is Devil Ecstasy. This series is absolutely insane. I would actually say this is also, like, simultaneously is it Shuzo Oshimi's weirdest, most out there work, but it's also his funniest, his most comedy-centric work. There is a lot of comedy in here. I thought it to be pretty funny, pretty ridiculous. Again, this one is very sexual in nature. This one's pretty much about a brothel that is being run by succubus. And so it kind of gets pretty crazy. It goes wild. Again, some of the dialogue here is just super out there, super funny. You know, this is one of Shuzo Oshimi's earliest works, so, you know, not the best in terms of art style and stuff like that, but I had fun with it. This is definitely not going to be for everyone, though, I will say, but personally, I did enjoy it. So next up in my number 6 spot, we do have Shino Can't Say Her Name, yet another one-shot here, and this one is Shuzo Oshimi's most down-to-earth, wholesome work. Honestly, not a lot of crazy stuff happens in this. This is pretty much just a slice of life about our main girl character who is in high school, I believe, and she just has trouble communicating. She has kind of like a stutter, and the way I like to describe it is just a way better executed version of Komi Can't Communicate, but contained into one shot here. Yeah, Shino Can't Say Her Name is a really, really good little one shot. I highly recommend it. It is, again, one of those rare occasions where Shuzo Oshimi is very down to earth. There's not really any sexual stuff in this manga. Honestly, this is one of the most approachable Shuzo Oshimi works, but still with his distinct writing style and, you know, fantastic art and everything. So highly recommend Shino Can't Say Her Name, and it is in my number 6 spot. So at number 5 here, we do have one of Shuzo Oshimi's current ongoing works, and that is Welcome Back Alice. This one I've only read 4 volumes because that is what's out currently in the US at the time of me recording this video. Yeah, Welcome Back Alice is a really, really enjoyable read. This one is one of the wildest Oshimi works. This does have a lot to do with, you know, gender identity and sexuality, puberty, stuff of that nature. This one is kind of like Shuzo Oshimi's take on a love triangle in a sense. It's pretty crazy. This is even a series I could maybe see in the future a live action adaptation for, as like a series or something like that. Obviously, this is very, very mature still, but you know, I really do enjoy this. This is just a really fun read for me. Again, not going to be for everybody, but if you're watching this, you probably already know from the plenty of times that I've mentioned that Shuzo Oshimi in general is just not going to be for everyone. But I really did enjoy Welcome Back Alice, and I can't wait to continue reading it. But in my number 4 spot, we have what some people might think is a controversial placement for this list, but it is Blood on the Tracks. This is honestly the series that a lot of people have been saying is the best Shuzo Oshimi manga of all time. I do think that Oshimi is cooking. Like, let the man cook. He is cooking with this series because it is absolutely insane. It's mind-blowing. This is already, I believe, Shuzo Oshimi's longest work to date. And with the first 13 volumes, that's only really the prologue. So yeah, we're in for quite a wild ride. And the reason that this isn't any higher is honestly because it's still ongoing. The other, you know, series that are higher on the list, they are all completed. I decided to put this in the number 4 spot because even though I could see it, you know, surpassing some of the other series, I could honestly even see this being like number 2, maybe number 1 once the story actually concludes. That would be pretty crazy. But yeah, Blood on the Tracks, it's just been a wild ride. Now, I have mentioned in the past that this is one of the most disturbing and uncomfortable series that I have ever read. This is a series that I don't want to go too much into detail for those who haven't read it. I would definitely recommend going in blind, but what I like to say is this is a nice series about a mother and her son. That's pretty much what this is about. But yeah, Blood on the Tracks, man, it's quite the wild ride, and I am just on the edge of my seat waiting for the next volume. Just so you guys know, I am caught up with the physical releases, and the most recent volume that has come out is volume 12. So that is all I've read. I haven't read anything past volume 12, so that kind of gives you an idea also to what point I have read for this ranking. And yeah, like I said, Blood on the Tracks, I love it. It's one of my favorite ongoing series right now. And yeah, I could definitely see it being a lot higher on this list as time goes on. But moving on to the top 3, we do have at the number 3 spot, Happiness. This is the introduction to Shuzo Oshimi for me. This was the first manga by him that I ever got into with the first 2 volumes, and while I didn't actually get to finish the entire series until a couple months later, and I had read, you know, other series by him in between, this is still the introduction to him, so I have a lot of fond memories of this series. This series in particular, I think, has really shaped my taste in manga. I think if I hadn't checked out Happiness, I wouldn't have checked out any of these Oshimi manga, so I have a lot to owe to the series. And this is Oshimi's take on a vampire story, which is super interesting. I actually really enjoy when Oshimi puts some, you know, fantasy elements in his manga series. He doesn't do it often, but when he does, I think it is really cool, and I just love the vampire aspect of this manga series. Obviously, this is very psychological as well. This kind of goes places that a lot of other vampire manga series don't go at all. And the second half of this series kind of takes a very dark and disturbing turn. Yeah, this is a really wild series, but it was such a great series from beginning to end. This also has some of Oshimi's best art and covers. I mean, like, the cover for volume 1 is absolutely beautiful, and some of the other covers are also just incredible. Not to mention that this is also one of Oshimi's easiest series to get into. I think if you're looking to get into Shuzo Oshimi, this is a perfect place to start. It's only 10 volumes, and you could read those 10 volumes from beginning to end in about like 3 or 4 hours. I literally read and binged the series in one sitting. I highly recommend you guys to check out Happiness. It is an awesome, dark, psychological, and also kind of horror tinged series. So moving on, we do have my number 2 pick for this list, and that is going to be what I believe to be Shuzo Oshimi's most underrated manga series, because everybody talks about Blood on the Tracks. Everybody knows, you know, Flowers of Evil. everybody knows Happiness. For the most part, a lot of people talk about that series, but I don't see many people talk about Inside Mari. This is an incredible manga series. It is Shuzo Oshimi's take on the body swap genre. So pretty much our main character, he's this guy and he wakes up in a girl's body in the beginning of this manga series, and it's kind of the mystery of trying to figure out, you know, how this happened, and it goes into a very mystery filled direction, which I personally really did find enjoyable. I also kind of do really like the slice of life aspects in this series. The characters are super well written as well. There are also many twists throughout the series that kept me very engaged, and I absolutely love the art in the series as well. I think Mari is one of Oshimi's best designed characters, and this release by Dempa is also absolutely beautiful. I just love everything about this series. It's really, really well done, and again, very, very underrated. This does have a lot of the trademark Oshimi tropes that we, you know, have come to expect from a lot of his other series. There are some psychological elements in here, there are some sexual elements in here, but for the most part, this is just a really, really interesting story. I don't want to go into specifics because this is definitely one that I don't want to spoil for you guys. You guys just got to go into this blind. Just know that it is my number 2 Shuzo Oshimi manga series. But now we're at the number 1 spot. If it isn't already obvious, I would be surprised if most of you guys did not see this coming from like a mile away, because I have sung this series praises so many times already on this channel, and that is The Flowers of Evil. In my opinion, this is Shuzo Oshimi's magnum opus. This is an absolute masterpiece of a manga series. It is a psychological coming of age story, and yeah, again, one of those that I very much highly recommend you guys to go in blind. This is just such a wild ride. The first half is just nonstop craziness, and then the second half takes a turn that I absolutely loved. Again, this series is a absolute masterpiece. I really, really do love it. I also think that this series is responsible for, you know, the tone shift that Oshimi took from the end of this series onwards with, you know, all of his manga. Before The Flowers of Evil, we had works such as, you know, Avantgard Yumeko, Sweet Poolside, and Devil Ecstasy. Series that I enjoyed as a, you know, Shuzo Oshimi fanboy, but they aren't the best that he had to offer. And after Flowers of Evil, his works just got way better in every sense of the word. His art style really evolved from the beginning of The Flowers of Evil to the end, and then from that point on, he just goes off with his artwork. Obviously, if you've read Blood on the Tracks, then you definitely can see that. And yeah, again, his writing style and everything really improved. I do think that this is the series that, to me, it just feels like he was waiting his entire life to write. And that's why I really, really enjoyed it. I personally really resonated with the story, and while I think, you know, like all of these, I don't think this is going to be for everybody. I think that everybody should at least try, you know, one of the series on this list if they sound interesting to you, because, you know, Shuzo Oshimi is, in my opinion, one of the greatest mangaka of all time. And he's still writing series. I don't think he's gonna stop anytime soon. You know, Blood on the Tracks, like I said, is still ongoing. Welcome Back Alice is still ongoing. And I'm just really, really excited to see what he does next. I'm also excited to see if we'll get some of the other Oshimi manga that still hasn't been published in English. Hopefully those get printed at some point, especially the Drifting Net Cafe. That is one that I've wanted to read for quite a while. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this Oshimi ranking video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Let me know if your ranking is any different. I would love to know what you guys think of all of these Oshimi series. And let me know if there's another mangaka that you would like to see me do a similar video on. But with that, that does it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.